Good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, September 29th, 2025. I, of course, am the founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, broadcasting to you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're watching the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. If you'd like a quick text reminder that I'm going live, you can go ahead and get that real easy. Just sign up at hmmr.io/reminder, hmmr.io/reminder, or you can use this cool QR code over here. If you're on your phone, take a screenshot, go back to your photos. That QR code will work. So today you have me sans hat. I did not bring a hat up this morning, and I wasn't wearing one up this morning, so I don't have a hat up here yet. So it's coming along. I'll show you guys some barn progress real quick at the end of the show today. But if you're here this morning, say good morning. Today we're going to talk about the looming government shutdown. What effect is that actually having and going to have on rates? Right. So that's number one. Number two, of course, it's big jobs data week. And then we'll kind of be winding that into the Fed. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, going into more detail on that. If you're here this morning, say good morning. I'm going to go ahead and say hi to some of the live folks here, and then we'll jump in and get started. Good morning, Monica Dinkins. Randy Tico, giddy up, sir. Holly Johnson, good morning. Amy Blauser, Rob Stewart, great to see you all. Megan Bissell, Tom Deadmore, Yasmin Martin, Nima Rezvan, Eric Telano. Let's see how high rates are this week. Yeah, that's a good question. So we'll get into it and talk about why that might actually happen. Angela Walters, Jerry Avila, Amber Moser, good morning. Yeah, my background, actually, it's funny because, Amber, if I was in my office down at the house, I would show you that I do have all cowboy hats. So yeah, this place though, I'll give you the quick, it's all wood right now. But I did get here. Let me turn that off. And don't worry, we're gonna get to those of you that are like, Hammer, I didn't come here for this. That's okay. I'm sitting on my nice leather couch. I still have to finish some of the ceiling. See that? I ran out of wood. Somehow I used the online calculator to order it and didn't double check the results, and it was wrong. So no big deal. I have more being delivered today. And then I've got one more wall over here that I have to also finish. That one's a pain in the ass because of the stairway and it's open there. So after that, I can get the final inspection. I got to dig a trench and run some so the electric company can run the electric. And then I can get to the next stage, which is making it pretty and painting it and all that stuff. So anyway, thanks for letting me tell you all that. I appreciate y'all. So, all right, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about what we got going on this morning, where rates are at and why. Let me go ahead and let's take a look here. Where are we? There it is. All right. So show you what's going on here. Let me pull up the screens and we'll get on to here. So what happened on Friday? Not much of anything. If you take a look, basically it was flat on the day. I mean, it doesn't get much more flat than this here. That is a terrible line, but it's hard to do on a trackpad, believe it or not. There we go. That's better. So that is, kind of flat on the day. This morning we opened up a little bit better to start the day after, that's overnight trading. You got the weekend, but you could see that it dipped down. We've gone down since then. And, we're basically about the same level as where pricing was. There was some erratic movement on Friday, but it wasn't, it's still kind of basically about the same. So you're going to see rate sheets that are basically the same as what we saw on Friday. Not much movement. I mean, overall, we had that one day of beauty right there, which I told you I did not trust, and it didn't make much sense. We jumped back up a little bit, and then since then, it's been about the same. Sorry, y'all. So anyway, rates really not moving. It's been kind of stagnant, and I think we're going to see more of that this week. Let's take a look here. Let me go ahead and so rate sheets are unchanged. Reprice risk on the day is low. It's very unlikely that we have any big movements that we have to worry about today. Should be a nice, calm, quiet day as far as that goes. But the outlook really hasn't changed. What are you doing, you trouble? Oh, you want to play with the bag. George over here wants to play with the bag I've got behind me. So anyway, there really shouldn't be much movement today. But this week, let me show you what I'm afraid of. So first things first, let's talk government shutdown. Where's one of the, okay. So if you're not familiar, we go through this every single year. It used to be a big deal to bonds. It really, back in the day it was. And now not so much. Let me get rid of this background one here. I'm going to pop this over and bear with me. I'm going to, come on, where am I? Here I am. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this over. Oh, yeah, there you go. And then I'm going to pull this onto this page. Bear with me a minute. Okay. All right. So, yeah, just like that. All right. So, anyway, I think you guys could see it all. Yeah, that works. I'm just checking this out. So, anyway, my friends, that way I can at least see what you guys are saying at the same time here. Taking a look here, this is such a bunch of nonsense. So first and foremost, we're not really seeing much of a effect on rates and pricing. Back in the day, I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, if we were having concerns over a government shutdown, it was absolutely, we were going to see better pricing. You were going to see bonds move to safety. Stocks just don't care. They don't care right now. They're still off to the races. Bonds getting no benefit at all because of this. When we take a look here, I mean, the 10-year treasury yield is at 4.16. It was 4.18 on Friday. So it's gotten a little bit better when you take a look here, 4.15, 4.16. But that's it. Really not much of a change. Same thing with mortgage bonds. After going down, we're now flattening out. They're kind of crossing out, but not seeing much of an effect when it comes down to this actual, this whole concern over this. Now, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. I don't want to get too far down the road, but if you're comfortable, I'm curious on something. Would you blame, if we get a government shutdown, will you blame that on the Democrats, the Republicans, or both? Would you blame it on the Democrats, the Republicans, or both? The reason that I asked that, and hold on, I got to pull this over so we can all see this together. The reason that I ask you guys that is because here's a screenshot. Let me move it so you guys I think you can see it now, right? Democrats argue that they're on firm ground if they can demonstrate Republicans are refusing to negotiate. Polling that Schumer has shared with Democrats showed that in states with close Senate races, respondents said they would blame Republicans for not working with Democrats, according to a person familiar with the matter. Republicans say that Democratic demands with an overall price tag exceeding $1 trillion over 10 years are unserious. And what Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage. And, so anyway, where I'm going with this is I don't think that either side actually cares about funding the government. They're using this as a way to try to rally their bases for voting for midterm elections. Like, that's where they're going with this. I don't think that the Democrats really care about what they are asking for. I really don't. I just feel that way. I feel like it's all just something that they can do so that they can finger point and throw mud at each other. Then you've got the Republicans. You got Trump saying that anybody that gets furloughed, normally what happens in a government shutdown, non-essential employees get furloughed. They basically, they can't go to work. They don't get paid, but then after everything gets sorted out, then they'll get their back pay. So they're basically getting a free vacation, paid vacation, right? Well, Trump said, I want all of the departments to figure out if we go into this, start firing people. So he's trying to put pressure on the Democrats. These are people's lives that they're screwing with. I don't care if you support Trump. That is a douchebag move. It's, this is real people and real lives that they are messing with. And I think it's disgusting on both sides. I really do. As far as how it's affecting mortgage rates, right now it's not. If we see a government shutdown, it may start to trickle over, but it won't be anything that we can count on to improve rates. It could help bonds a little bit, but I wouldn't put my finger on it. I just think that this is the markets are just numb to all this stuff at this point. And for me, as a person, I just find it reprehensible. I just think it's terrible. Allison, she said it. Neither side cares about the people at all. Just having power. I agree. So this does not help mortgage rates at all. It doesn't hurt us right now, but it's certainly not something that we want to see happen. This is an interesting one, right? So here's my concern about where we're going. So this week is jobs data. We'll talk more about it as we go in. JOLTS data is on Tuesday. We get JOLTS data tomorrow. We get the ADP, which isn't really a big deal. It's really not. I don't even know why they talk about it, but we get that on Wednesday. Thursday, we get jobless claims. And Friday, of course, we have the big jobs report and the one that's going to be a big deal. But here's my concerns here. Okay. There is a lot of talk, even though the dot plot, the median showed 2 more Fed rate cuts. There was not a lot. Remember, when we go to that dot plot, let me show it to you one more time. When you go to this dot plot, we have we have the median is for 2 cuts. There were 2 people that were here. I think if I can zoom in on this. Oh no, that was terrible. That did even worse. All right. There were 2 members that thought there'd be 1 cut, and then it was almost, I think it was 9-6, thought we would have 0 cuts. I don't think markets are even remotely pricing in how close to one and done we may be with this Fed cut. Now, the next Fed meeting, that's going to come on October 29th. So it is a month from today. Today's September 29th. A month from today, we're going to get this next meeting. Right now, markets are currently pricing in the idea for the October meeting. It's basically a 90% expectation that we're going to have a Fed rate cut at a meeting next month. If this jobs data does not come in super weak, you're going to see this drop. And when that drops, along with the idea that maybe the labor market, according to what we get from BLS, is not in as much of a isn't as much of a concern. It's not as weak as expected or as concerned. That's going to mean rates are going to go up. We would see mortgage rates probably jump at least 1/8 of a point. So I'm still in a position to lock heading into this week's jobs data. What I look at, and I'm going to be repeating myself all week, but let's say the jobs data comes in weak. What is that going to do? We already expect to see a cut this month. Markets are pricing in a 65% expectation that we'll see a second cut by December. We could improve. If this comes in as a really weak report and markets push up and this goes up to, let's say that this pushes all the way up here to like 90%, right? And, if something like this happened, that's the only way that you're going to see rates improve. And how much room do they really have to improve? When you look at rate sheets, how much are rates really going to improve from here? We may go back down to this. Possibly you'll pick up 1/8 of a point, but there's a lot of risk to that. So the only loans, I wouldn't be floating anything closing near term. Anything's closing the next couple weeks. I wouldn't take that chance, because if rates go up and if we see a sell-off in bonds and bonds worsen, if we see a sell-off in mortgage-backed security, remember, red is bad and down is bad. And if we see a sell-off and this drops down like this and we get down here, you're not going to have time to recover. And there's nothing that's going to bring a recovery. So I just don't really, this week, I would be locking most of my loans. There's not an urgency. We don't have to lock immediately, but I don't see much improvement. So that's my take on things. We'll talk more about it as we get into the rest of the week on where we are with this stuff. But I mean, again, I appreciate that everybody that's on here, you guys can have conversations about this stuff because the shutdown, it's just more political posturing. They're not. I think many of us agree that they're really not trying to help us. The tariffs, like they did the big tariffs on the pharmaceuticals. That's all pomp and circumstance. Markets had no reaction to that. The other tariffs, it is affecting things. Look at the cattle industry. The beef that we were selling to China is not now. Now we're not the ones selling anymore. Now it is. Now it is the Australia that's getting that, and that's going to hurt our farmers. So a lot of these things, I don't want to make this a for Trump or against Trump thing, and I think a lot of my personal opinions are against Trump at this point. I don't like what I see, but bottom line, the effect it's going to have on the economy and rates. The GDP data last week, Danielle DiMartino Booth, very, very smart woman. She showed that it looked like it came in great, but when you dig below that, it's really not that healthy. There were a couple of things that buoyed it up and made it sound better than it was. But we constantly keep saying this. We constantly say that there's cracks in the foundation, that it's not doing as well, but it's not really mattering. And I think that the Fed, I think that they're in a different spot. Let me ask you guys a question, and then we'll wrap up for today. Let's talk labor market. Okay. So the labor market, we're losing jobs. The idea is that normally if the Fed were to cut the Fed funds rate, it helps to spur borrowing costs, or not costs, but borrowing. It makes borrowing cheaper for large companies and even smaller companies. And if people are able to borrow, they're able to grow, and growth requires manpower. I think we're going into a stage where most companies are looking at either eliminating employees for AI or eliminating employees, and the other employees are able to do more work because of AI. But either way, I think we are in a revolution where you're going to see in the white collar world, you're going to see jobs go down no matter what the Fed does. And we don't have enough people. We're paying the price. We don't have enough dentists. We don't have enough doctors. Does anyone else have a problem if my son wants to go see a different dentist, and 3 different dental offices he called and they're not taking new patients, right? I don't have a primary care physician because I can't find one that takes new patients in my area. The closest one's an hour and 20 minutes away. Like, we don't have enough nurses. We don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough dentists. We don't have enough tradespeople. We don't have enough HVAC people and builders and everything else. But yet we have an overabundance based on the last 40 and 50 years of pushing everybody to college. We have an overabundance of white collar, and now you got people that can't find jobs, and you got AI coming in, taking away some of those jobs. This is like when robotics went into the factories and you had the workers, United Auto Workers and stuff, that were replaced by robotics. So I think that all of this is, I don't know that the Fed can get us out of a labor market shift, because I think what it is AI. What do you guys think? I'd really love to know in the comments. Zelinki, I appreciate you, sir. Holly Johnson, yeah, we are just pawns. Absolutely. It's frustrated. Thomas, if they really cared, they wouldn't wait until the last minute to attempt to negotiate. And even that, the Republicans only want a 7-week stopgap bill so that they can negotiate, and then they'll do it all over again. Holly, we talked about buying a couple calves a few years ago. When we looked into it, they were about $300 a calf. This weekend, we were told the same, $1,100 for 2. Yeah. So you're talking almost twice the price. Good morning, James Mahan. So anyway, that's my take on things. You talk about the price of beef, Holly. Buddy of mine came up this weekend, and we had steaks, and I went to Publix. Normally I buy meat from, bigger things, but I just wanted 2 steaks. I didn't have time to thaw them out. I went to Publix, and filet mignon was $33 a pound. I bought New York strips, and they were $18 a pound. Ribeyes were $27 a pound. Like, so if the US farmers aren't able to sell to China, why is our meat so expensive? Like, if I don't know, the whole thing, right? Julie says the opposite where you live. Too many plumbers and dentists, restaurants not hiring and not doing well due to the economy. Where is that, Julie? Where do you live that you're seeing that? That's crazy. Yasmin, I agree. The Fed can't help us. AI is the major labor disruptor right now. Yeah, I think it is. I truly think it is. I'm doing an anti-AI thing for LOs with Jason Frazier tomorrow on his high performance call. But as much as and again, I'll wrap up real quick. But with the AI thing, I'll tell you, I know a lot more about it than sometimes I let on when I'm joking around about it or when I say I don't like it. Colorado, okay. So good morning, Michelle. All right, my friends. Well, thank you for joining me again. Sorry not to bring you any better news. I don't think rates are getting better this week. I really don't. We may see some nominal improvement, some small improvement. If you cautiously float, you could see a little pickup in pricing, especially if the JOLTS data comes in weak. Or, again, we'll see what that. If the BLS jobs data does come in weak, rates can improve a little bit. It's not a lot. I don't know that it goes back down to where we were a couple weeks ago. Like, Randy, you asked if there was any kind of a rebound situation. I don't think it would even bring us to a rebound from where we lost a couple weeks ago after the Fed meeting, but it could improve a little bit. I don't think there's a lot of that. And I think we're on the cusp of seeing rates push back higher. So I think we may end the year with rates back at 6.75 rather than 6.25. And that half a point hurts. It really does. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it definitely hurts. And I get that. You guys get that too. So, all right, I'll wrap it up. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. And thanks again. Bye-bye.